Alright. My name is researcher Rowe Lucian, and today I'm going to be talking about SCP-6011. Containment Class: Safe. Disruption Class: Dark. Risk Class: Notice. Item Number: SCP-6011. Object Class: Safe. Special Containment Procedures: Provisional Site 44 is to encompass SCP-6011. Human development within a 10-kilometer radius of SCP-6011 is to be prevented under the guise of the area being protected by the Libyan government for conservation purposes. SCP-6011 is to be stored in a hermetically sealed chamber. External stimuli are to be kept to a minimum. An adjustable monitoring system is to be deployed perpendicular to SCP-6011, as per the aforementioned criteria. Interactions with SCP-6011, its mass, and/or instances of SCP-6011-1 must be approved by the acting head researcher of Provisional Site 44. Description: SCP-6011 is a circular area located in the Central Sahara Desert, with a radius of roughly 500 meters suspended 5 centimeters in air. The area is situated 156 meters below the ground within limestone karst, in which it was originally discovered. As the transport of the object was neither possible nor practical, Provisional Site 44 was erected following the unearthing. SCP-6011 has no thickness and behaves like a two-dimensional plane. Three-dimensional objects pass through with no resistance. Valence shell electron pair repulsion and molecular orbital theories are applicable, and result in the molecules as well as the orbitals represented on the XY axis alone. Both the inorganic and organic material found within SCP-6011 exhibit properties similar to their three-dimensional counterpart, existing in all states of matter accounted for in the baseline reality. Compounds that require three-dimensional configuration to perform their functions can exhibit them within SCP-6011 through unknown means. The designation SCP-6011-1 collectively refers to organisms inhabiting SCP-6011. The smallest unit of the aforementioned organisms is cell-like in nature. SCP-6011-1 can be divided into three basic branches of life, termed explicit archaea, similar to archaea, explicit bacteria, similar to bacteria, and explicit eukaryota, similar to eukaryotes. The variation between the different single and multicellular instances of SCP-6011-1 garners them being placed into their individual species. Reproducing both sexually and asexually, all species of SCP-6011-1 are based on a genetic code similar to DNA, exhibiting both genetic heredity and mutation. Proteins assisting in the coiling of the genetic material are present and affect the gene expression, although their two-dimensional nature prevents the formation of chromosomal-like structure, and instead results in the genetic material being stored in a form of two-branch format spirals. Endo- and exocytosis is achieved through the opening of the U-shaped proteins forming the cell membrane. A protein synthesized in preparation for cytosis is used to break the intermolecular forces between the membrane, allowing the material to pass. This process is highly regulated, as osmotic lysis occurs when both sides of the U-shaped proteins are open. Among the fauna of SCP-6011, absorption of food is most commonly accomplished through mouth-like structures, and most species perform aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Since the anus is not present, as the two-dimensional configuration does not allow for the gastrointestinal tract, the waste product is regurgitated through the mouth following digestion in the stomach. Fauna of SCP-6011 developed an immune system and physical adaptations capable of combating the majority of bacteria and feces through natural selection. Photosynthesis is performed by numerous species of flora. Due to the sunlight being fairly scarce and directional, such as all plants blocked by any amount of opaque mass will find themselves etiolated, the majority of flora is capable of performing rapid phototropism. As directional gravity is not present, the roots of the plants grow towards sources of metal, usually the iron-rich soil, using a form of advanced magnetotropism. Light-sensitive, eye-like structures located on some specimens of SCP-6011-1 are capable of perceiving the environment within SCP-6011 as a one-dimensional line. The perspective is determined by the distance between the light bouncing off the perceived object and the sensory organ. Objects in close proximity appear brighter than those further away due to the scattering of light. Using this method, shapes can be distinguished. This is done in a similar vein to three-dimensional entities perceiving depth through the use of two-dimensional images. The Plana hominem is a sapient multicellular species of SCP-6011-1. Members of the Plana hominem possess features similar to that of a human side profile, with a distinguishable head housing a brain, a nose, and a singular eye. The integumentary, muscular, lymphatic, respiratory, digestive, nervous, endocrine, cardiovascular, urinary, and reproductive systems are also present. As their eye is stationary and facing to the left, instances of Plana hominem must orient their entire body to achieve 360-degree vision. Possessing three types of cone cells, the vision of Plana hominem is similar to that of the human visible spectrum. Locomotion is performed through an arrangement of modal, cilia-like structures moved by hydrostatic pressure from blood circulation. Though primarily used for locomotion, grasping can be achieved. Sol Beta is a miniature, rotationally locked star possessing features equivalent to a red dwarf's. It measures 4 meters in diameter, creating a dead zone within a 50-meter radius outside of which its solar radiation is not detrimental to the climate and life of SCP-6011. The average temperature in areas located 250 meters away from Sol Beta is only 18 degrees Celsius, considered to be tropical by both the local fauna and flora. The geological landscape of SCP-6011 is varied and subject to infrequent change due to the lack of seismic activity. A large accumulation of solid water covers the circumference of the plain, with the average temperature within the immediate proximity measuring -40 degrees Celsius due to its distance from Sol Beta. Smaller bodies of liquid water, maintaining structure through its cohesive nature, are scattered throughout. The meteorological conditions of SCP-6011 consist of infrequent rainfalls caused by the accumulation of water vapor with occasional snow. There is no distinction between seasons. Cooled by the frozen circumference, the clouds move clockwise throughout the day, causing rainfall once the water condenses. Both the time and directional system of Plana hominem is based on this meteorological system, with the distinctions of cardinal directions done by the periods of rainfall. North is designated by the direction of rainfall at 12 o'clock, east by the direction of rainfall at 9 o'clock, etc.
Looking at SCP-6011 is curious. It can give one the feeling of power, being able to survey the entire world with a mere glance. Every rock formation, building, and even the inhabitants can be viewed with ease, as if looking at an oversimplified diagram. When I look at an instance of SCP-6011-1, I do not see a singular entity. I see all their organs working in unity. I see their digestive systems moving, their eyelids appearing from the space behind their eyes in which they are tucked, and their heartbeats beating rhythmically. If I were to zoom in closely, I am certain I could see the individual neurosynapses firing in their exposed brains. We had prior interactions with entities that claimed to originate from higher geometrical dimensions, yet our mind was never really capable of understanding them. Where we stand, we have the capability to imagine the lives of those in the two-dimensional space. Sadly, the same cannot be said for our understanding of the fourth-dimensional reality. It is often said that the human brain is like a computer, so just like a computer can never completely emulate a machine more advanced than itself, so do we to lack the ability to understand higher dimensions. Dr. Mihalis.
Addendum 1. Xenoanthropological Report of SCP-6011. The Department of Xenoanthropological Studies. Vas es ab hoste docere. Social structure. Instances of Plana hominem live in a feudal-like society, with the role of the parents passed to the offspring. There is a clear social hierarchy, with people divided into estates. Those estates, indicated by the coloring of the body applied below the skin at birth, strictly follow their social structure. One cannot move down or up their respected estate. Any deviation from the said hierarchy could result in an individual getting placed in a mental asylum, the role of which has not yet been replaced by a proper psychiatric hospital. It must be noted that the social classes mentioned below are broad classifications. Red. Archduke, the monarch of SCP-6011. Orange. Administrative positions. Yellow. Priests, scribes, and record keepers. Green. Similar to middle-class citizens of 18th century Europe. Teachers, physicians, lawyers, etc. Blue. merchants, tradesmen, and skilled workers. Purple, manual laborers. Color and its cultural importance. Much cultural emphasis is placed on color. Colors with higher wavelengths represent value, and are commonly used to distinguish essential characters in art. This application of color is primarily used as a way to most easily distinguish between the social states, as differentiating between individuals from facial features alone is a great task, and an acquired skill termed facial recognition. Servants. As many everyday tasks cannot be performed by a single individual due to their bodily limitations, it is considered proper and even essential for higher-class citizens to own no less than 2 servants. Whether paid or enslaved, the servants must come from an estate below the green one. Requiring assistance of a friend or family member to perform tasks requiring 2 is considered a sign of poverty. Technology. The technological level of development within SCP-6011 is considered low in many aspects. Germ theory is yet to be developed, and the belief in spontaneous generation is just beginning to be publicly scrutinized. As two-dimensional nature does not allow for a formation of an axle, and gravitational force not moving the matter in any particular direction, wheels are applicable for neither transport nor gearing. Voice scribes. While physical writing on a surface is possible, it is not practical. As such, leagues of voice scribes are trained amongst the Yellow Caste. Their sole purpose is remembering and regurgitating a large amount of information. It is usually a role of a singular voice scribe to recall an entire tome, transcription of a speech, or a particular law. Entertainment. Due to their inability to accompany more than one row of viewers, visual theaters are seen as a form of luxury. More popular are the voice theaters, where more emphasis is placed on the sound of both the artificially created ambience as well as the dialogue. Entertainment in the form of social games is prominent and played amongst all social classes. The most popular competitive board game is titled Regicide. Played on a one-dimensional board, Regicide shares many characteristics with chess, involving both a central piece the capture of which results in the end of the game, titled the Archduke, and different movesets for individual pieces. While two-dimensional Regicide is possible with the use of transparent playing boards, the movement of the pieces is considered troublesome, and the sport as a whole a novelty. Addendum 2. Interaction 6011. June 9th, 1914. Test Group A. Designation: Alpha. Preferred name: Iotis. Sex: male. Estate: green. Note: Professor of Physics. Beta: Finmar. Female. Green. Spouse of Subject Alpha. Employed as a lawyer. Gamma: Aminius. Male. Green. Oldest son. Only child of legal age. Currently unemployed. Delta: Vicria. Male. Green. Youngest son. Zeta: Gralala. Female. Green. Oldest daughter. Ada: Chizihaya. Female. Green. Youngest daughter. Theta: Cac. Male. Purple. Servant of Subject Alpha. Note: While there was a mention of Subject Alpha and Beta having 2 more daughters, empirical proof of their existence is not within the Foundation's possession. Forward. An educated member of the Green Estate named Iotis was chosen as Subject Alpha for an interview regarding the nature of SCP-6011. As the subject spent the majority of their time within the city, north .55, south -.34, Rialo. An attempt at the initial interaction made within Subject Alpha's household at 11:30, SCP-6011-1 time. Begin log. Subject Alpha. Study, South Wing. Engaged in a solo game of Regicide. Subject Beta. Bedroom, Southeast Wing. Repeating sentences regarding a legal case to itself. Possibly a form of rudimentary voice scribe training. Subject Gamma. Bedroom, West Wing. Sleeping. Subject Delta. Bedroom, Northwest Wing. Sleeping. Subject Zeta. Bedroom, Northwest Wing. Sleeping. Subject Ada. Bedroom, Northwest Wing. Sleeping. Subject Theta. Kitchen. Central wing. Cleaning dishes. A short, high-pitched noise was played in a speaker suspended 5 centimeters above Subject Alpha. This was done to test its hearing capabilities.
Pardon? 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 Head north, we'll commune further there.
Distressed, Subject Alpha rapidly turns around the room.
Excuse me, sir, or madam, but could you please state your direction? I am incapable of facing you. That is not necessary. Please head north. I do say it is necessary. It is only proper for visual contact to occur during a conversation. But then again, your voice is hard to distinguish. Just a moment. Your name is Iotis, correct? That is right. But sir, or madam, I simply must know where you are.
Subject Alpha is making its way around the room, feeling the walls.
Iotis, please stop moving. I believe a call to the police is in order. How have you entered my private quarters? Goodness me! Goodness me! A thief! A thief! A thief! Your daughters and sons are disturbed by the noises you're making. Do you realize that?
Subject Alpha slides the door leading into its chamber open, inspecting the hallway before retreating inside.
Where are you? How do you know about my children? Goodness me! Goodness me! A thief! A stalker! A thief and a stalker!
Subject Alpha continues inspecting its chamber. Subject Beta enters the chamber of Subject Alpha.
Sir Iotis, why are you screaming, Sir Iotis?
Ah, Madam Finmar, horrible news! A thief! Quickly inform the police while I take the children somewhere safe. Go, Madam Finmar, go!
Subject Beta exits the chamber of Subject Alpha in haste.
Listen to me, Iotis. I am not a thief. I am not a stalker. I am a messenger. That's right, a messenger. Please, if you could just cooperate, I can assure you that your family will be fine. Anything, I'll do anything. Yes, very good. Now please stop shouting and move back to where you were.
Subject Alpha moves towards the south of its chamber.
Please do not use the hoi polloi language in my household. Just say south side like a proper gentleman or lady that you are. That being said, your voice is difficult to distinguish. Oh, pardon. I am a sir. A doctor. You're an educated man yourself, correct? Yes. I am a professor, sir. Is this what this is all about? Do you wish for me to use my talents free of charge? Iotis, we want nothing from you except your time. Very well, very well. I am here, I am listening. Could you please at least show yourself? Just a moment, Iotis.
A mechanical piston is lowered into the surface of SCP-6011 before being retracted.
Pardon, pardon, pardon. That was one of our devices. Did you see it? Yes, yes I did. Metallic it was, and round. But it disappeared. As I mentioned before, we require your cooperation. I'll be as clear as I can in explaining what just occurred, and you will listen. Understood, sir? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
2 members of law enforcement from the Blue Estate approach the house, accompanied by Subject Beta. Subject Theta answers the front door.
Iotis, we will continue our conversation. Tomorrow, head north side of your house, just past the large lake. Just past the White Rock. We'll talk again. Right now I can see 2 policemen approaching your house. No wonder, you were loud. What? How? Angel! Angel! Where are you, Angel?
End log. Closing statement. Subject Alpha was fined for noise disturbance. While I understand the initial concerns at breaking our absolute veil over SCP-6011, an interaction needed to take place sooner or later. Subject A, Iotis, made no attempts at recalling the events. It appears like Subject Alpha mistook our interaction as some sort of divine intervention. While incidental, this oversight could be exploited in further interactions. Dr. Mihalis. Addendum 3. Seminar regarding SCP-6011 at Site 19. Forward. Following the events of Addendum 2, Subject Alpha performed several other interactions with the research team of 6011. As further data was collected, both from the testimony of Subject Alpha and empirical observations, Dr. Mihalis found it appropriate to put together a seminar accompanied by a Q&A section regarding SCP-6011.
I want you all to imagine a place in space. A point. The center of a circle. A singular point in space. And then another. Now imagine a line connecting the 2 points. Now our space has length. It has dimensions, it has direction. To give our space an area, we need to draw a line perpendicular to our first line. To give it volume, another line must be drawn perpendicular to the other 2. This is what many of us call the baseline reality, a 3-dimensional space. When even one of the aforementioned perpendicular lines is removed, an object will no longer have volume. Could such an object have mass? In our baseline reality, the obvious answer is no. Mass has density, and density calls for volume. However, ladies and gentlemen, despite most of you being junior researchers, you have all interacted with that which does not make sense by the mainstream science. How does an object become anomalous? We don't know. And if we did, it wouldn't be anomalous anymore. One such object was discovered by colonial forces of Italy in 1912. Of course, it seemed like an extended form of cave system to them, and the public shall know it as such. Inside the cave system, we found SCP-6011. If you could please look at the screen, I would like to introduce you to our informant. I know he doesn't look like much, and the little guy is only 5 centimeters in length, but what you are seeing is a sapient creature originating from SCP-6011. He told us a little about his world, and while asking us to return the favor, we were hesitant. It believed we were an angelic entity of some sort, and can you really blame him? Imagine someone suddenly appearing within your house. Imagine someone describing the direct shape of your insides while informing you of what your relative across the country is doing. Would you not also cry out, "Angel, Angel, where are you, Angel?" I see you laughing. Yet there is nothing comedic about our testing period with Subject Alpha. It did involve some distasteful tactics that I, as a xenoanthropologist, am not proud of, but it needed to be done. We could no longer observe. We needed an expert, and Iotis was the closest thing this world had to a doctor. While most of our data of the xenoanthropological kind was kindly provided by him, we filled in the blanks with our own observations and corrected for any biases. Today, I wanted to talk about what was not included in the main 6011 files. Things that were not deemed valuable enough, and other information of curiosity. Something to make you think, and perhaps consider an assignment to Provisional Site 44, or at least giving my recently published book, The Life in Plane, a read. It was actually co-authored by our very own Iotis. As you have all read the file, there is no reason for me to repeat myself. I'll move straight into the Q&A section. Please tell me what you want to know.
Can you say something in the language spoken by the sapient instances of SCP-6011-1?
It's not good for my throat, I'd reckon. It is a very coarse language, yet oddly soft. Let's say I placed my finger within SCP-6011 and moved it towards a rock formation. Would my finger be slashed in half due to SCP-6011 being infinitely thin? Firstly, SCP-6011 isn't infinitely thin, as it has no thickness. Your finger would be fine, as the two-dimensional projection of your atoms would simply interact with the rock as expected, abiding by our understood laws of thermodynamics. For future reference, please do not place any appendages within SCP-6011.
Is there any apparent reason for the sapient instances of SCP-6011-1 to look human?
Truth is, do they even look human? Or is it natural for our brains to make connections between vaguely humanoid-shaped objects? As we want to feel a sense of familiarity with them. Philosophy aside, no, not that we know of.
How do we know that SCP-6011 is actually a two-dimensional space?
We ran tests involving beta emitters. The received value stands in line with that expected from an environment with a high concentration of gases rather than anything solid. We have also created a form of vacuum in SCP-6011, with the results once again agreeing with us. So yes, if SCP-6011 had width, we would have detected it by now.
can mass be removed out of SCP-6011?
I'm glad that somebody asked this, since it will save me some time with future testing requests. To answer your question, yes. Hypothetically speaking, mass can be forced out of SCP-6011. However, we do not want that to happen. You have to understand that particles within SCP-6011 have a two-dimensional configuration. They would either rearrange themselves to fit into a three-dimensional configuration, or split apart in the baseline reality. The worst thing that could occur would be the removed mass undergoing instantaneous nuclear fission that would release 0 joules of energy. Besides, it is a standard protocol to avoid removing mass from a closed system.
Opposite of the previous question, can mass be moved into SCP-6011?
Yes. Actually, no. It's complicated. You can place a cross-section of a mass, but the actual mass itself would remain in the baseline reality. If we wished, we could place a piece of carbon for the instances of Planohominum to ignite using a flame. While the cross-section would inevitably burn, leaving us with 2 pieces of carbon sliced neatly at the intersection, the mass of carbon would remain the same. Rinse and repeat. Infinite mass, infinite energy. As I mentioned before, changing the enthalpy of a system is never advised. Addendum 4. Incident 6011. December 1st, 1916. On December 1st, 1916, there was a malfunction in the motoring system that caused the breakdown of camera rails and dislocation of several metallic compartments into the surface of SCP-6011. While the object sustained no damage, the phasing of the components was witnessed by several citizens of City Rialo, above which the monitoring system was momentarily suspended. While it was initially suspected that a state of panic would result from the sudden entry and exit of mass in such a public place, the rapid return to the status quo resulted in the research team deploying anti-cognitohazard screening in order to locate the source of the apparent disregard following the initial events. Images from the anti-cognitohazard screening were analyzed, discovering that a sizable building obscured by a form of visual cognitohazard was located at north -0.99 and south -0.20, an area previously marked as a wasteland. The building, shaped like a regular octagon with a side length of 100 centimeters, resembled a standard holding facility. Following the deployment of auditory anti-cognitohazard screening, the research team managed to record a voice scribe reciting the information regarding Incident 6011, December 1st, 1916. The creation of the obscured building, cognitohazard deployed following the event, and the subsequent capture of Subject Alpha can all be attributed to a veiled organization acting within SCP-6011, designating themselves as Doctors of the Church. The group, comprised mostly of members of the Yellow and Orange Estates with a small task force of green, blue, and purple field agents, holds similar mission statements to the SCP Foundation from the baseline reality. This encompasses their attempts to uphold the veil of secrecy between that which they consider anomalous, three-dimensional mass entering SCP-6011, and the general population, as well as their will to understand the nature of such phenomenon through the application of science and theology. It was further discovered that SCP-6011 would have become dislodged from the baseline reality following the initial textile interaction, were it not for the Doctors of the Church and the deployment of reality anchors. A two-dimensional cognitohazard made for protection from extra-dimensional threats. Two-dimensional reality anchors. Truly, I am speechless. Doctors of the Church, referred to as the Little Foundation in jest among the research team, are an interesting group of interest. When I look at them, I see, well, us. A little crumb of limestone falling from the ceiling of the karst, or a bug somehow making its way onto the surface of SCP-6011, phasing in and out of existence, must have terrified them. Found a way to conceal all that was illogical from the general public, as did we. Dr. Mihalis. Alright, that's all I have to say about this subject. Thank you all for watching, and a special thanks to all my patrons. If you want to help support this channel, go ahead and visit my Patreon for early access to videos, skip recommendations, and other Patreon benefits.